and welcome to Spotlight on Port Huron. I'm Sue Rakowski, and today with me is Clayton Berdan, who is the coordinator for this year's Black River Cleanup. This year's cleanup is May 4th. It begins at 8 a.m. in the morning, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about it. So Clayton, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, we're going to be talking about the Black River Cleanup, which is sponsored by the Ameritech Pioneers. And first of all, let's just kind of give a broad general, what is the Black River Cleanup?
Well, this is something that evolved many years ago by a gentleman by the name of Jim Nobles, who was with North American Benefit at the time, and he was also a boater, and he traversed the Black River many times, and he said, boy, there's so much debris in there, we should really do something about it. And I think we were both on the city council at the time, and he said, I'm sure we can do something, and he was able to get the city and the county and everybody that was necessary to do the Black River cleanup.
All right, well, I know there's a lot of people involved, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but where do you start the cleanup, and how far do you go?
We start at the mouth of the Black River, which is at St. Clair River, and then we keep going west as far as we can go, and as long as time permits. And if we have the boaters that can go up there with a diver and pull some of the debris that's in the river, that's what we attempt to do.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about who is involved with this year's cleanup, and I know they're all volunteers, right?
That is correct.
Okay, tell me a little bit about who's involved.
Let's go back to North American Benefit. They became involved at the very beginning, and they still are involved. Club 611, which is a volunteer group with the insurance company, provide rolls and coffee and juice first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock and even a little bit before. And then they also provide sandwiches and pop at lunchtime, which is just great.
Sure, a little incentive for people to come down and, of course,
correct.
Get a little tired, a little hungry.
3 years ago, we were able to get Scott Patterson and his 67-foot tug involved. And that's been a godsend for us because he can pull anything out of the river that's in there. In fact, 3 years ago when he started, we had a 150-foot tree that he pulled in, and he would have never got it in without his tug, and
Sure.
just made a tremendous difference. But the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department and their dive team, their Marine Division, is intricately involved because they provide the divers. Mm-hmm. And also Wayne Brissett, who is a professional diver, and he provides some of his divers for the event. And it just makes such a tremendous
So these
difference.
folks will ride along on the smaller boats and dive in looking for
That's
debris
for sure.
to pull out.
That's for sure.
Wow.
It's really amazing, the amount of debris that comes out of the river. Now that isn't all incurred by people just throwing things in the river. You have the erosion that takes place every year, and if anybody has ever seen the ice come out of the river, just know that the ice is taking small bushes along the river and trees, and they just fall in the river. And
Sure.
Normally the landowner doesn't have the capability of getting them out, so that's what we're there for.
Great. How many volunteers do you think you have every year?
Oh, I would say running around 50.
Okay.
And most of these are not boaters. They're all, people that just want to help out.
Sure. Well, that's great. I mean, the volunteer aspect of this is wonderful.
The big thing here, we have the county, we have the city of Port Huron and their vehicles, the big trucks, and their forestry division, the fellows that cut up all of the trees with their chainsaws, and these guys are just phenomenal what they can do with the chainsaw.
So you've got these folks not making overtime. They're just out there volunteering their own time.
That's right.
That's
and,
great.
People ask about it every year because it's been going on so long. Mm-hmm. It is Saturday. It's always the first Saturday.
First Saturday in May.
Yes.
Okay. What is the strangest thing you've ever pulled out of the river?
I think a car.
A car?
The divers found a car a few years ago. And, it had been in the river for a long time, and it's just one of those things, that they
certainly
came across.
Important to get out, and
oh, no doubt about it.
It could certainly be a danger to a boat or someone.
Or a diver.
Sure, someone swimming, whatnot. How much garbage and debris do you pull out, say garbage truckload wise?
The most we've had is 35 truckloads in one Saturday. These are the big units that they have hauling the debris away. And fortunately that we have the Smiths Creek landfill is open for us, and that makes a big difference because they can take it there and dump it during the day. But last year we had over 10 truckloads, and that's still a lot of debris that's being pulled out of the river.
Obviously, it sounds to me that you're really looking for some folks who have some small boats. But if they don't have a boat, can they still come and help?
Sure. A fellow by the name of Metzger, he has a group of youngsters, and he's been doing this for years, that he brings down, and they go along the river and do pull in a lot of debris just on the edges. There's all kinds of papers and things that blow away.
Sure, people can just kind of walk along and follow too and clean up on the sides.
Last year we found a whole mattress set. You know, it was waterlogged, but there it was, you know, that we brought in. So.
That must have been
and
heavy.
The kids found that, you know, and we did get the divers down there in a boat to bring it in. So.
Sure. And again, I find it really interesting that it's not just people pitching garbage in there, their pop cans or whatever, but because of the erosion, it's like you said, the bushes get pulled in.
Sure.
And
you know, people have things pretty close to the river that are growing, or maybe it's been there forever, and the erosion
maybe
just
that's
takes
how
them
the
away.
car made it in there. It was parked too close to the edge.
Or just to give you another example, as you go down the big river, the St. Clair River, and in the wintertime when we have all the ice, and when the ice breaks free, it just wipes out so many of those docks, you know, and that's another thing that happens. And we get all kinds of wood debris that's in the river. Not all of it floats, you know.
Oh, sure, that's right. So how do people go about getting involved? Do they need to pre-register or anything like that?
No, all we ask them to do is to show up at 8 o'clock on May the 4th, and we'll be happy to put them to work. And hopefully the Coast Guard is going to be there again, unless they're really involved with the ice that's in the river. And there was an awful lot of ice in the river yesterday. So it's we just get so much cooperation from the community. It makes it worthwhile, and we're delighted to do it. I am not a boater.
No, and you still volunteer.
Oh, yes. I've been doing it for years and just enjoy it.
If you were trying to convince someone, if you're trying to convince me why I should come down on May 4th, what would you say to me?
We're trying to make the river as safe as possible. And the river, as you know, we have so many boat slips, and the people that use the river like to have it as clean as possible. And if we can prevent a tragedy by getting a tree out or a log out of the river, that's what we're there for.
That's great. So if you'd like to become involved, it's May the 4th. That's a Saturday. You just meet down at the Riverside Boat Launching Ramp, and the ramp's located just west of I-94 on Riverside Drive here in Port Huron. So bring your small boat down or bring yourself down. You can certainly walk along the river and help with the cleanup. If you do need some more information about this, you can call Clayton at 982-6636. I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening on Spotlight on Port Huron.